Radio from the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
From the VON Newsline, this is the VON Major Newscast.
Good evening, I am Tashan Tyson, in with the VON Major News Package for today, Monday 15th October 2018. In our lead stories, nationally, Securities Commission warns initial coin offering have many risks, and 14-year-old National of St. Kitts and Nevis nominated for International Children's Peace Prize. Regionally, Barbados government to lay off 1,500 public sector workers. Internationally, Turkey to search Saudi consulate in Istanbul for missing journalists. And in sports, ex-Sri Lanka captain faces corruption charges. We'll have the details of these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, VON.
Welcome back. Another national news in detail. The Eastern Caribbean Securities Regulatory Commission, ECSRC, has issued an announcement warning to the public here in St. Kitts and Nevis and the other ECCU countries of the risks of investments with initial coin offerings, ICOs, or other token-generating events. The statement indicates that, globally, virtual currencies are becoming increasingly popular as a means to conduct traditional business in the financial and capital markets. It said these transactions also include invitations to the public to invest in these virtual currencies or to participate in funding activities including initial coin offerings, ICOs, or other token-generating events. The Eastern Caribbean Securities Regulatory Commission, ECSRC, wishes to advise the public in the ECCU of the potential risks of investments in the ICOs and all forms of virtual currency. It said, and I quote, "The recent publicity surrounding virtual currencies and ICOs presents a tempting picture of high returns on investment. High reward investment scenarios have high potential for financial loss and fraud. Potential investors can be easily lured with the promise of high returns in a new investment and may be less skeptical when assessing the risk." End quote. 14-year-old Janique Quealy of St. Kitts has been nominated by the Angelique Dance Company for the 2018 International Children's Peace Prize. The International Children's Peace Prize is awarded annually to a child who fights courageously for children's rights. All winners have shown a remarkable commitment to combating problems millions of children face worldwide. Janique has been successful in representing St. Kitts and Nevis, along with 121 nominations of remarkable children worldwide. The award ceremony of the International Children's Peace Prize 2018 will take place on the International Day of the Rights of a Child on Tuesday, November 20th in Cape Town, South Africa. The prize will be awarded by Nobel Peace Laureate and patron of kids' rights and the International Children's Peace Prize, Archbishop Desmond Tutu. The role of female diplomats in today's world was a topic of a video presentation the Federation's ambassador to the Republic of Cuba, Her Excellency Mrs. Verna Mills, submitted to the World Federation of Consuls, FICAC. The video was shown during the 12th Congress of Consuls held October 4th to 7th in Brussels, Belgium. The FICAC is an internationally recognized non-governmental organization with backing from the United Nations, the Organization of American States, and the European Union. It was founded in 1982 in Copenhagen. The objective of the organization is to provide a forum for consuls to share experiences and coordinate efforts, which will help to enhance their status and effectiveness. It also seeks to bring together under one banner the consular associations and corps from all around the globe. The launch of Chirpy's Classroom Adventure Academic Manual, a teaching aid which utilizes cricket terms to teach several subject areas, was held on Thursday, 11th October in St. Kitts at the Marriott Conference Room. The academic manual, which is a product of the collaborative efforts of the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, Regional Anti-Doping Organization, RADO, and the Caribbean Examinations Council, CXC, was designed for regional teachers to assist them with the delivery of classroom lessons through teaching the game of cricket. Over 6,000 students from 31 schools within the Federation will benefit from this newly balanced curriculum, which teaches social studies, mathematics, language arts, and information technology using the social and cultural game, cricket. This manual aims to develop Caribbean children and expand their knowledge using this differentiated approach, exhibiting that academic and sports can work hand in hand to enhance education within the region. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education, the Honorable Sean Richards, stated that not only will this reap the advancement and continuation of the sport, but the launch of the manual will assist in the development within particular sectors of the Federation. Education officers, principals, and teachers from both islands were present during the launch, as well as a team of trainers who will be facilitating sessions for teachers on the island. Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Dr. Honorable Timothy Harris, has revealed the number of loans approved under the aegis of the government's Employment Property Ownership Program. Here is PM Harris.
Today, the bank has advised that they have approved 62 of over 100 plus applications, and the total mortgage finances committed to date is $10.5 million. And that is just the first phase of the program. The program is still open, but it means then very shortly we are going to have to provide the second tranche of $58 million to bring the first $30 million committed to this program.
Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Dr. Honorable Timothy Harris. The program was put in place to assist civil servants, included but not limited to police officers, prison officers, teachers, nurses, etc., with the funds necessary to purchase a house or a piece of land. $30 million, which was committed by the government, is being administered through the Development Bank to assist persons. The program officially began on Friday, June 1st, 2018. Celebrate Life. That's the theme for this year's Pink Lily Cancer Care 10th anniversary. Additionally, its annual walk is slated for Saturday, October 20th. This year, Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis is among the growing number of corporate citizens and individuals that are partnering with the Nevis-based Cancer Care Group. According to Miss Tracy Paris, the organization was launched on February 9, 2008 as Pink Lily Breast Cancer Care at the Old Manor Hotel in Gingerland, Nevis, after her sister, Mrs. Lee Paris Cambridge, and her mother, Mrs. Mary Paris, were diagnosed with breast cancer within 2 weeks of each other. It has since been renamed Pink Lily Cancer Care as its mandate covers all forms of cancer for both men and women. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis has once again deployed the Regional Security System, RSS, to boost its crime-fighting initiatives. Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Dr. Honorable Timothy Harris, in an address on Saturday evening, underscored his government's position in leaving no stone unturned when it comes to the criminal elements that threaten to derail the country's advancement, human development, and economic progress.
The RSS forces began arriving in the Federation on Wednesday the 10th, 2018, and will continue to arrive into St. Kitts and Nevis in sufficient numbers to assist our ongoing efforts at ensuring citizen security and safety. RSS members are already deployed throughout the communities with local national security personnel, and their presence will help local law enforcement to expand the extent of their coverage of the country.
Dr. Harris said that the RSS will remain in St. Kitts and Nevis for as long as necessary until the security forces advise that their presence is no longer required.
The government asks for the fullest understanding and cooperation of the general public in their engagement with the RSS members and indeed the members of the local security forces. Public safety and security are my government's highest priorities, and no stone shall be left unturned, and no effort or expense spared in ensuring that all Kittitians and divisions and all who call St. Kitts and Nevis home are safe and secure.
Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Dr. Venerable Timothy Harris. Meantime, while RSS forces are deployed here in St. Kitts and Nevis, gun-related crimes continue. The latest incident is reported to have taken place in Bastia on Friday evening. Reports are that the police received a report of the robbery just after 11 p.m. on Friday and responded. Investigations revealed that several persons were inside a bar on the Irish Town Bay Road when 5 armed masked men entered and ordered everyone on the floor. The assailants then robbed them of personal belongings. They also took a large sum of money from the cash register before fleeing the scene. It was also reported that one of the assailants hit the bartender across her head. Police investigations into the matter are ongoing. And finally, find your platinum lining in credit unions. That's the theme under which the Nevis Cooperative Credit Union and its affiliates here in St. Kitts and Nevis are celebrating International Credit Union Week. The celebrations began on October 13th and will run until October 20th. A number of activities have been planned to mark the observance, leading up to International Credit Union Day, which will be observed on Thursday, 18th October.
The day celebrates the spirit of the global credit union movement. It recognizes the contribution of the pioneers and persons who have worked in the credit union movement over the years, and it reflects upon the history and promotes the achievements and bring to the fore the important work that credit unions are doing in the world, and especially in communities that are not easily bankable.
General Manager of the Nevis Cooperative Credit Union, Mr. Sidney Newton. Other activities to mark the observance include presentations and donations to organizations, an appearance on the Let's Talk program here on VON Radio, a health fair, and a nature hike. That's our national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com or check us out on our social media page on Facebook at VON Radio and our VON Radio YouTube channel. News from across the region is next.
Home. It means something different to everyone. It's a place you love, a place as unique as you are, a place where you can be yourselves, a place for life's big surprises, and not to mention the small ones. Moments to cherish and moments that last a lifetime. It's a place for nurture and a place where you can grow together. It's home. So whether you're building, purchasing, or renovating, the Bank of Nevis is here to open the door giving you the confidence to dream and the help you need to get there with a mortgage loan from the Bank of Nevis. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life.
Welcome back. Another regional news in detail. Out of Barbados. The Barbados government says at least 1,500 public workers will be laid off over the next few weeks as it seeks to turn around an ailing economy while acknowledging that sending home one worker is too many. Prime Minister Miriam Motley, in a radio and television broadcast to the nation on Saturday night, said that the job cuts will affect workers in central government and government entities. Prime Minister Motley, whose Barbados Labour Party, BLP, came to power in May this year, acknowledged that it was a painful exercise her administration has embarked upon, but added that the layoffs would be underpinned by the last in, first out principle, and workers are in line to receive full packages. Motley told Barbadians that her cabinet had also agreed to ensure that dislocated workers would go home with their payments in hand. But she told the nation that the government would be establishing a household mitigation unit to assist the retrenched workers. Barbados recently entered into a $290 million extended fund facility, EFF, with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and Motley told the nation that at least 99% of the creditors have agreed to back the government's debt restructuring exercise. Still in Barbados. A leader of the 70-year-old Public University of the West Indies says the scandal surrounding an unaccredited private medical school that hasn't lasted 2 years is an embarrassment to higher education. While touting the UWI's new global ranking among the top 5% of universities and in Latin America's top 40, Vice Chancellor Sir Hilary Beckles said his heart goes out to the mostly young Indian students who had been left stranded without food, electricity, water and money, while Chief Executive Officer of the St. Philip-based Washington University of Barbados, Rahul Venkata Gopi, remains in custody facing multiple counts of fraud. Sir Hilary, who was flanked by Principal of the Cave Hill campus, Professor Udine Baruto, expressed the need for stringent checks and balances in the establishment of educational institutions of all kinds and in the sourcing of foreign academic teaching staff to ensure they are above board. His comments came in light of reports that Gopi, who is currently on remand at Her Majesty's Prison, Dutts, is also wanted by the law back in his native India. Describing the man behind the disastrous Fire Festival in the Bahamas as a serial fraudster, a judge in New York last Thursday jailed him for 6 years for engaging in multiple fraudulent schemes. Billy McFarland's sentencing came months after he pleaded guilty under a plea deal to wire fraud, bank fraud, and making false statements to a federal law enforcement agent. He had admitted in a Manhattan federal court to defrauding investors of $26 million in the highly publicized failed music bash, which had been slated to take place in the Bahamian island of Exuma over 2 weekends in April and May 2017, and over $100,000 in a fraudulent ticket selling scheme. The Fire Festival turned out to be a nightmare for patrons who had shelled up to US $12,000 for tickets and booked festival accommodation packages costing up to $400,000. Following his prison term, McFarland will have 3 years of supervised release. He also had to forfeit $26 million. And finally, out of Venezuela. With the help of the UN Refugee Agency UNHCR, Colombia is showing extraordinary solidarity towards Venezuelans displaced amid the country's ongoing economic and political crisis, said agency chief Filippo Grandi. With over 4,000 Venezuelans entering Colombia each day, intending to either stay there or push further south, neighboring countries are struggling to meet the needs of refugees and migrants. On a visit to Colombia and other Latin American countries, the High Commissioner for Refugees called the situation shocking and praised Colombia for sheltering and caring for Venezuelans during critical times. UNHCR reports that nearly 2 million Venezuelans have fled their country since 2015, largely compelled to leave in search of more security, income, and access to food and medicine. With around 1 million Venezuelans now in Colombia, local governments are working to ensure they can legally access essential services, resources, and obtain legal work permits. That's it for Original Stories. Stay with us for news from around the world. Welcome back, and now the international news in detail. Turkish officials investigating the disappearance of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi will search Saudi Arabia's consulate in Istanbul later on Monday, the Turkish Foreign Ministry says. Turkish officials believed Mr. Khashoggi was murdered in the consulate by Saudi agents nearly 2 weeks ago, but Riyadh strongly denies this. Diplomatic pressure is growing on the Saudis to give a fuller explanation. Mark Lowen reports.
We're waiting for the Turkish investigators to enter the Saudi consulate this afternoon and to see if their allegations materialize into a real finding. But I have to say that we've just seen an image of a cleaning company going into the consulate before the Turkish investigators show up this afternoon. So that doesn't really fill you with confidence for the integrity of the crime scene. There was a sense really of frustration here developing that the Saudis were not cooperating fully with that demand for a full search of the consulate. And I think after pressure from President Erdogan during a phone call with King Salman last night, there was this agreement that the Turkish investigators will be able to go in later on today.
Brexit negotiations have hit a real problem over the issue of the Irish border, government sources have warned. Ahead of a key summit, the EU is believed to be seeking further reassurances to prevent a so-called hard border involving physical checks. Hopes of a breakthrough were raised when the Brexit Secretary made an unscheduled trip to Brussels on Sunday. More in this report.
The prospect of any breakthrough at this week's EU summit would now appear remote, following the apparent deadlock over the Northern Ireland backstop. These are the arrangements that will be put in place to avoid a hard border in Northern Ireland in the event the EU and the UK cannot agree a trade deal. Mrs May will this afternoon set out to MPs why she believes the EU's insistence there should be a final fallback position which would see Northern Ireland remaining inside the EU's customs union and single market is unacceptable.
Syria's main crossing points with Jordan and the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights have both been reopened for the first time in several years. A Syrian businessman living in Jordan was the first person to pass through the Nazib border post between Jordan and Syria when traffic resumed. Syrian government forces recaptured the crossing from rebel fighters in July. The news came as Syrian Foreign Minister Walid Muallem discussed speeding up the reopening of the country's border crossings with Iraq at a meeting with his Iraqi counterpart Ibrahim al-Jafari in Damascus. And finally, Sears, the U.S. retailer that once dominated America's shopping malls, has filed for bankruptcy. Sears Holdings, which also owns Kmart, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection today, Monday. The company has suffered, along with many other traditional retailers, from rising online competition from firms such as Amazon. Sears has been closing stores and selling properties as it grapples with debts of more than $5 billion. The company employs nearly 90,000 people in the U.S., although that is down from 246,000 5 years ago. And in its heyday, it had more than 3,000 stores. That brings us to the end of our news segments. Ladies and Sports is next. Welcome back. Another sports in detail. In cricket, ex-Sri Lanka captain Sanath Jayasuriya has been charged by the International Cricket Council with 2 breaches of its anti-corruption code. The 49-year-old former all-rounder is accused of failing to cooperate with an investigation by the governing body. He is also charged with obstructing the investigation by concealing, tampering with or destroying evidence. Jayasuriya, a former chair of the Sri Lanka Selectors Committee, is regarded as one of the greatest one-day players. He has 14 days to respond to the charges. Jayasuriya was player of the tournament as Sri Lanka won the World Cup in 1996, and he scored 28 centuries and took 323 wickets in 445 one-day internationals. He also averaged 40.07 runs in 110 test matches. He retired from international cricket in 2011 but continued playing 2020 matches until 2012. In football, Usain Bolt has questioned why he has received a notice for a drugs test from Australia's anti-doping authority ASADA, saying he is not yet a professional footballer. The 8-time Olympic sprint champion has been on trial with a league club, Central Coast Mariners, and scored twice on his first start in a friendly on Friday. Bolt says he has been told he is being tested as he is an elite athlete. The 32-year-old Jamaican retired from athletics in 2017. The notice from ASADA requesting blood and urine appears to have been issued by Football Federation Australia. It is understood that even as a trialist, Bolt is officially registered with the club and is therefore subject to drug testing. And finally, in tennis, Novak Djokovic continued his superb form by beating Croatia's Borna Coric in the final of the Shanghai Masters. The second seed 31 beat 21-year-old Coric 6-3, 6-4 in 97 minutes to claim his 4th Shanghai title. Coric, the 13th seed, upset Roger Federer in Saturday's semifinals to reach his first Masters 1000 final. Serb Djokovic has won 18 consecutive matches since losing at the Rogers Cup on 10th August and will replace Federer as world number 2 today, Monday. Djokovic won his 26th straight set to clinch his 4th title of 2018 and go just 35 points behind Rafael Nadal in the ATP race for London. Djokovic's winning run includes victory at the Cincinnati Masters in August, when he became the first player to win all 9 Masters 1000 tournaments. That's it for sports. The general weather forecast is next. Welcome back. Another local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. There will be partly cloudy skies tonight with a 20% or slight chance of a brief shower. There will be partly cloudy skies tomorrow with periods of increased cloudiness and a 50% or moderate chance of showers. Winds are east to northeast at 19 to 30 kilometers per hour or 10 to 16 knots. Seas are moderate with significant wave heights of 1.5 to 1.8 meters or 5 to 6 feet. Sunrise tomorrow would be at 6:04 a.m. And that's how I wrap up the Media News package for today, Monday, 15th October 2018. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, Securities Commission warns initial coin offering have many risks. And 14-year-old National of St. Kitts and Nevis nominated for International Children's Peace Prize. Regionally, Barbados government to lay off 1,500 public sector workers. Internationally, Turkey to search Saudi consulate in Istanbul for missing journalists. And in sports, ex-Sri Lanka captain faces corruption charges. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Tashon Tyson, wishing you a pleasant evening.